You awesome folks, my name is Scott Churchson, alongside a very excited Mr. Davion Bussey and a much more relaxed Ryan O'Regan. And this is Tales from the Film Set, and we are here to discuss Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, details, basically facts, figures, information, spoiling the living snot out of this, and basically just taking whatever comments, thoughts, and predictions for the second part of this series coming out next year. Before we get started on this, Ryan, Day, how the hell are you guys?
What universe is this? This isn't Monday.
Oh boy, I know. Well, dude, we're talking about multiverses in this case.
Okay, so pretty much, you're not in the right. You're not in the right universe. Okay. My name is Day Day. I'm not Davion. I'm not Bussy. I'm just Day Day, and this is the R Man, and this is SC.
Yes.
See, you must really want to work for DC Comics because those are terrible names. What? The R-Man?
No. My name is Captain Whitebread. Captain Whitebread with the power of absolute blindness because of the pure color of his skin.
Unless Disney want to basically, because I'm open, Disney, just let me know. Just let me know.
He's like, basically, it's like, I'm here, I'm available, you know. That's confab.
Because I was at the Flash premiere and I did my review on the film, my non-spoiler review for DC, and I got cut.
Yeah, I'm sorry for your loss, man.
I know.
There's my alternate version.
Yeah.
Cowboy Ryan. That's all you get.
You get the hat turned backwards.
Exactly. For my case, I get Irish Spider-Man. You know, just a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Here, have a Guinness. Have a potato.
That's terrible.
Stop it.
Anyway, laddie. So basically, like I said, in this particular case, Across the Spider-Verse came out. It is doing really well, which we're going to break down some of the numbers on that. Currently at 208 million as of this morning, which is close to 2/3 of the way to what Little Mermaid already is at. So that's going to be an interesting convo right there. But we'll talk about the movie, talk our thoughts on it, maybe some spoiler predictions as far as what may happen for third movie in the trilogy, second movie in the, this two-parter, and wing it from there. Yes, Day, you have a question.
Yeah, I'm just going to have to bring up something. Don't you feel like this is the battle of the boys versus girls at this moment? Because you got the Little Mermaid, and then you got Spider-Man crossing across the Spider-Verse.
No. Once Barbie comes out this summer, then you can talk about
it. I think more guys are going to be watching Barbie than girls, to be honest with you.
Yes,
it wouldn't surprise me more than I think that could be split like right down the middle, I think.
You think so?
Oh, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that the novelty and the quirkiness of it will intrigue enough guys that'll be like, screw it, I'll go see Margot Robbie as Barbie. Why not?
Margot Robbie is tearing it up right now.
Oh yeah, she's gold right now.
She got cast for Marvel.
Yeah,
well, rumors. Nothing is official yet.
You wait around long enough, everybody joins Marvel.
Shoot.
That's just kind of how the Marvel things works. Eventually, like I said, Michael Douglas, Paul Rudd, Owen Wilson, really? Like I said, you wait around long enough, that phone's going to ring from Marvel, and they'll be like, hey, you want to do this project? Which one is it? This one. Okay, cool.
But now the problem is the role may be much less significant than, say, Iron Man.
But my point is basically, as they come out with new projects constantly, they're spreading their actor list a little thinner now.
Right.
Because you can't reuse in this case, especially unless you're avoiding multiverse. So it's like, all right, who haven't we used yet?
Right. Which, of course, we will get to a nice little MCU plug that they had in the original movie that we're going to be talking about. Nothing new.
5 minutes in, we haven't even come close to talking
about it. Let's get the discussion going here. And again, folks, just to remind you, this is a full-on spoiler discussion. We will be talking soup to nuts, beginning to end, about Across the Spider-Verse. So if you have not seen that movie yet, like Scott, then go ahead, listen at your own risk. If you want to listen later after you've seen the movie, perfectly fine. For those of you who have watched the movie, definitely chime in. Let us know what you thought about the film. Let us know what your anticipation is for the third film. And let's get into it right now with
We're going full throttle.
By the way, I just want to point out, I think the brakes on the bus you just threw me under are a little weak right now. May need to replace it. I think the brake pads may need replacement on that.
Scott, look, just in discussion, we knew that you weren't necessarily going to like Day and I. We, for some reason, have this capacity of going to the theaters almost anytime we want to, whether it's because of Day's connections to everything around Newark, or me just having an AMC A-list pass and being able to see 3 movies every week. But
and me running the show on this and being married, yeah.
Yeah. So you have a significant disadvantage in that sense, but it's understandable.
It's helpful because it is. It's content for the show.
Exactly. So
yeah, this way we get to surprise you a little bit.
Yeah.
I was surprised by that one. So yeah,
there you go.
Off to a good start. But
so
anyway,
buses aside.
Yes.
First thing we have to discuss, as far as I'm concerned, in regards to this movie, is how, with as much as this is a sequel to Into the Spider-Verse, this is as much Gwen Stacy's movie as it is
Miles Morales. Exactly. I was going to say that.
It is a little more focused on her this time around. Yeah.
Well, just in the way, like, you have the movie starting off with like her little backtracking of what happens, and almost like giving us a slight prediction about what's going to happen in the movie, especially with that drum solo set that she does, right. And that musical, that band allegory that comes into play later on in the film.
Mm-hmm.
I really thought that was a nice touch. I feel like, with as important as hey Rob,
oh wow,
their proper shirt and all. There you go.
Jeez,
I'm sorry guys, I came all the way from the other Spider-Verse just to be here.
Nice. You're part of Earth, 0118-999-8819.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Funny enough, we're talking Spider-Verse, so he pops in like the spot, like we didn't even see it coming.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's got his own way over here.
So,
yeah. All right.
So anyway, Ryan, continue.
Yeah, just to catch up. But what we're starting with is how Gwen Stacy is pretty much, I would almost say, like, just as pivotal and just as much of a landmark story aspect in this movie as much as Miles is. And yes, needs more Spider-Mans. We need more. Like, we didn't have enough Spider-Mans in the movie.
Okay.
Wait, Spider-Man was in the movie?
Nah, he wasn't.
He had
a few of them,
I think, didn't he?
Yeah. But not the actual Spider-Man.
Well, depends on what you consider the actual Spider-Man.
Exactly. Was he an actual spider? Yeah.
You.
Yeah. No. Lots of memes. But no, I like that this is like taking place a year after the events of the first movie. How we're pretty much seeing in a little bit of a flashback how life was for Gwen, going back home, expanding upon her origin story, which we kind of saw in the first movie, with the way they all did like the quick. Let's do this again one more time from the beginning. That this is like a fully fleshed out story of that, and seeing what happened with her Peter Parker being the Lizard, what's going on with her dad, all that stuff. Which, by the way, just as far as a voice casting, Shea Wingman as her father, pretty damn good. Captain
Spider people.
Yeah.
Well, not always people either, just spider mammals.
Yes.
Gender neutral
spider folk.
Spider mammals.
But yeah, I like the art style of her universe, where everything's kind of like, it's like the environment almost changes with her emotions and with the feel of what's being talked about. It's almost got like a drippy sort of like, rain art sort of feel to it. But yeah, just Gwen's story in general, I think has as much heft as say Miles's does, and I like that they're actually going to go ahead and probably delve deeper into some of these people. Like we already saw in the first movie, the origin of Miles, how Peter B. Parker and how his stuff was going on with his life, and now we're expanding upon Gwen, and I'm wondering if we're actually going to expand on anybody else come the third movie, because I think that's really how you best get people behind this film. It's not that you do it with the flashy animation or the action scenes. You put the heart into the characters.
Right. I don't know if you can expand out to too many more characters at this point, because this is really Miles and Gwen's story.
Correct.
I mean, maybe Peter B, but I mean, there's a couple of options you could do, but how far do you take it before the audience loses interest? Because now they're already invested in the two. If you start adding more subplot into other characters in the end of this series, is it really going to hit home like the first two did? I don't think it would.
Yeah, exactly.
And
But sorry.
the third movie is part 2, so it's technically the second.
Yeah, part
movie.
2. It's
Right.
really, like I said, it's a little convoluted how you want to describe it, but you guys know what I'm talking about here.
Yeah.
So pretty much like Ryan was saying, this one is Gwen Stacy's story, technically, in a Miles Morales movie.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I think part 2 is going to focus more as a unity because in this film, it focused on their relationship. Am I right, Ryan?
Yeah. The fact that they have like this this bond of feeling like they're the odd ones out, that they're the ones that don't really belong in their protective, worlds. Like Gwen doesn't feel belonging to like the band that she was trying to play with, or she's losing connection with her father, who blames her for Peter's death. And then when he finds out that she's Spider Gwen or Ghost Spider, no, they called her Spider Woman, right? Yeah, they were calling it, which is inaccurate. I just want to say, I'm not to say that there's any issues here, but you don't call her Spider Woman. Spider Woman is someone completely different.
No.
I mean,
no, they did it right, Ryan, because of the fact that reason why they said Spider Gwen because it's Gwen Stacy's as an alternate version of Spider Woman, so you don't get it confused title wise. But
you could have called her Ghost Spider.
Spider Woman.
I think Spider Woman is easier to remember.
Fine.
Listen, like I said, I'm perfectly fine with Spider Mammal. Because at this point, I mean, when you include like pigs into the whole thing, it's Spider Mammal.
Or
I love
the cat.
I love the cat.
Yeah, fine.
The cat. Okay, we'll get to all the alternates because there was a lot of alternates. Oh my god!
And I want to spoil this so bad. No,
and we will get to. It's just I want to take a look at the sentimental part of this film because this is what makes this film art. All right, you could easily say it's a visually spectating movie. You could easily say that there's a lot of fan service to it, but it's the core acting from Shamik Moore and Haley Steinfeld on these two characters. This is what makes this a drama.
Meeting him this weekend, Shamik Moore.
Wait, really?
Dallas Fan Expo.
Oh yeah.
God
by the way,
damn it, Rob.
I got that switched, by the way. So what's her face is now the other one. So
okay, if you can get Shamik to say, you're watching Streampunk Cinema or Tales from the Film Set, if you can do that, that's fine. That's all we're asking.
I'll have some talks with Scott afterwards. We'll see what we can do.
Figure it out. Anyway, yeah.
And Scott knows what's going on tomorrow.
Yes, Scott knows some degrees of things. So.
Yeah, so we'll have information tomorrow from we won't have an episode, but we'll have something else for you folks. But all right, back to focus.
Yes,
these two. What did you think about this? I don't necessarily want to say a budding romance, but this mature look at this kind of friendship between Gwen and Miles.
Kindred spirit would be the phrase I'd use.
Or platonic.
Yeah. I could do that.
Well, I did love their reference when they did say that every relationship with Gwen doesn't go good.
Imagine you being like one of those people that gets into the multiverse and you find out that throughout time and space, almost every other version of you ends up getting killed by the Green Goblin or something. Or your dad dies because he's a cop.
Or uncle or some person that you care about.
Oh, I can't.
Well, she already lost the one.
Yeah.
So I mean, actually, in this case, both of them lost a Peter. So again, that adds to the connection between the two. I don't think. I mean, my opinion, Gwen. Neither one of them are going to die. I think there would be a massive riot if either one of them kicked.
Because there's a relationship that I wouldn't say it's platonic because you can tell they love each other.
Yeah, there's definitely like that. I mean, we have to remember these people are still teenagers. Miles is only 15 years old while this movie is going on, and
Miles has
Gwen,
I
imagine is still high schoolish, maybe 17 at most.
No,
so it's still like that teenage puppy love, It's like I kind of like you, but I don't want to say it, sort of thing. And
Do you like me or do you like me like me?
Well, especially comes out when she starts hearing about Hobie and how Gwen's been staying over in his place. It's like, wait, you've been doing what? What? Who?
And
who's Hobie?
And I was gonna say Miles is definitely fit team because they referenced that in the actual movie.
They did,
yes, exactly. So,
because they're like some 15-year-old shouldn't be Spider-Man or something like that.
Well, I mean, to be fair, even Peter Parker was in high school when he got bit. So
correct, factual.
Yeah. No, you're right. I don't have a problem with age. I'm just quoting the movie.
I'm not saying anything about it.
He's always.
I'll send you into a different universe.
Calm down, Miguel, with your little spider skull there. All right, don't start with me.
Basically, Spider-Man throughout most iterations has always been like 15 to say 20 to 22.
Correct.
We'll say 20. By the time he became, Spider-Man at that point, they kind of nailed that down. Also with Tom Holland's character because they showed how young he was. Andrew Garfield.
Better watch out.
Tobey Maguire, I think, was early college. I think, but he was still high school now.
He was still high school, yeah.
But he just looked like he was in college.
Yeah, but he was almost like at like graduating age because then in the next movie, like he's running pizzas and
she's on Broadway failing.
If I'm not mistaken,
you're not doing that while you're still in high school studying the SATs. So
I think Toby was like 21 when he got the role. If I'm not mistaken,
he could have been,
yeah. So he was young enough to begin with.
Yeah.
But and we'll get to Toby in a sec. But I do want to say like whether this is like turns out to be like a romance that can somehow cross the Spider-Verse or not. Mm-hmm. The acting from these two, this is really what sold it for me.
Yeah.
So
I agree with Ryan on that one.
I only had one conflict with the movie, but besides that, I give it a 9 out of 10.
What's the conflict?
It was like, I can't remember if it was like middle of the movie, but they had like a time when it was just slow. It was just slow pacing before all the action happened. And I understand some movies you got to do that, but when it's slow pacing, I just feel like they could have maybe pushed that a little bit more to keep it going because they were doing pretty good at keeping it going. And then it just got a little dry. And then it went bam, 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 bam for the rest of the movie.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's definitely been one of the things about this because just from trivia point of view, at 2 hours and 20 minutes, this is the longest run-timed animated film ever made in America.
Right.
Wow. Because I know we're not supposed to be talking about Little Mermaid, but I did go see that. And we're
allowed to talk about it. It's fine.
I say my biggest complaint with that is that the original movie was an hour and 26 minutes. They made this movie into a 2 hour and 15-minute movie. I went to sleep most of the movie. That's my review on that. Because it was slow.
That's the problem with a lot of films now. I mean, a lot of them they drag out that runtime for whatever reason in a TikTok era. You got a bunch of hyperactive 7-year-olds on their phone. It's like, let's make this movie 2.5 hours long. Guardians 3, another example of that. I mean, we, like you said, 86 minutes, 82 minutes, whatever Little Mermaid, the original one was.
Yeah.
It got a lot done in that time. This one dragged it out with some things like the Scuttlebutt rap song.
Don't start with that Scuttlebutt.
Where it's kind of like, okay,
I didn't see Little Mermaid, so
let me say this. Aquafina, to her credit, was like, are you sure this is a good idea? Listen, I'm happy to do it. But she's like, I don't know if this song's going to fit. So if you don't like it, take it out. I'm okay with that. She played the perfect card on that. And then they're just like, we're going to leave this in. And it just got shredded because there's a lot of squawking going on. And it was,
And I love how one quick thing that's minor spoilers is I love how Scuttles, the bird, could actually talk underwater.
Mm.
They did for scene the one where she's supposed to be like on the rock talking to Sebastian and Scuttle, Flounder, whatever, that like scene word for word, but Scuttle was talking underwater, full on in water. And I was like, that can't happen.
That's there's
also mermaids and a talking crab. A lot of things can't happen.
Dude, that crab gives me nightmare fuel. Anyway, back to this.
Yes, back to Spider-Man.
But anyways, back to the Spider-Man.
Until there's a Spider Mermaid, all right, I don't want to talk about it.
Don't give them no ideas, Ryan. Do not give them no ideas. Please don't.
Though, Okay. Speaking of how slow things were with the movie. No! God, no, damn it! Damn it!
Why?
I should have moved faster.
Darn it! Hey, you had to bring it up. You
can't plant those kind of ideas in my head, man.
Ryan, I blame you.
I blame myself too. I have no excuse.
You can blame Rob because I brought up Little Mermaid.
No. We'll blame Ryan.
No. You didn't.
No, I'll do that, but no.
You didn't say Spider-Man.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's try to bring this back.
Back into the Spider-Verse.
Yes. Okay. So, Spider-Verse.
Yes.
Yeah.
That thing.
God, now you got me jumping all over the place with this thing.
You're knocking a bunch of pennies and coins.
It's a delicate setup.
It's okay. But continue.
Please.
Okay. So, as far as the movie's main antagonist, since let's go in order with these things.
Yeah.
The Spot.
Mm-hmm.
I have to admit, I was trepidatious with the fact that they were using someone like this as character, because we've seen in other iterations of Spider-Man, there are other villains that can definitely do the whole multiversal thing. Like anyone that lived off of the Fox cartoon knows Green Goblin could have hooked that up easy.
Right.
But I gotta say, I really kind of enjoyed this neurotic scientist who decided, you are my nemesis. You are my enemy.
In the comic book, he's a low-ranking villain.
The kind of power that he has in this movie with finding his own little hammer space and being able to traverse the dimensions. Not the Spider-Verse per se, just simply dimensions. So there are chances that he was able to go into dimensions that didn't even have a Spider-Man.
Right.
So just him having that ultimate power and being able to do that, again, back from the first movie, because of what happened in the first movie with the explosion at the end and everything being connected, that I have to say, Lord and Miller, whether or not a lot of this second movie was thought up when they were making the first movie, but they have been able to weave together this narrative so well. Like you think about little things from the first movie that probably were innocuous, but boy, does it pay off in this.
They probably had, let's say it's been 5 years since the last one, which is a ridiculously long amount of time when you think about it. But I think in this case, and I'm going to use Stranger Things as an example, COVID made it easier, where you had the time to really flesh out your storyline. Ryan, you and I saw the second half of Stranger Things that way. You saw how well that worked because everything shut down. It gave them such an opportunity to be able to flesh out what they wanted to do, especially in this case with a two-parter. So they've had 5 years to build 2 movies in a 6-year period, essentially. And as a result, they really can take the time to not fast food the storyline. I talk about fast food, product a lot. This is not an example of that because they had the opportunity to really, really hammer home what they wanted to do, how they wanted to look. These guys did probably a shit ton of Zoom calls, during COVID and all of this stuff during the shutdown to really get the feel and the vibe and the energy that they were going for with this film. And you're seeing the end result and the payoff of it.
Yeah. And like I said, COVID did some amazing good things, but also did some amazing bad things.
Yeah, I've lost a few people to that. But I also think this writer's strike could actually make some writing be a little bit better, too.
Yeah.
Maybe people start to be more original.
Well, they have more time, so they don't have to worry about getting content out as fast. So they can really flesh out stuff better. Like, now this is setting a bar.
Is that I don't stick up with the news. Is that still going on? The whole.
Oh yeah, that's okay. Yeah. I had a day on set on
Directors
Tuesday.
Guild have worked out a slight little tepid sort of deal.
So does that mean like shows like Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon are still not airing because of it? Correct.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not doing new episodes right now, but it's
and obviously we still have to hear about the SAG-AFTRA vote. What that's going to be.
But SAG's really weak with these sort of things. Like, we're striking. No, you're not. Okay. That's usually how it goes.
Well, I saw the message from Fran Drescher saying, everybody make sure to vote to strike. And I'm like, okay, if that voice was telling me to do anything, I would not.
Dude, I'm Fightcore. I can't.
I will say I love
the Art of Anarchy video last month with Bumblefoot. you know, because I'm just like, I just do whatever job they're willing to give me. But yeah, as on the Fran Drescher, do you remember that one episode of The Nanny where she has like wasabi, like has way too much of it?
Mm-hmm.
And then you actually hear her actual natural voice come out. It's freaking glorious. One of the best moments from that show. Love it. Love the show in general, but that was great. Anyway.
I was going to say, I think this movie potentially has a way of winning an Oscar. And the reason why I say that is because, don't know if you guys noticed the things I noticed, but there are certain things in the movie you only see for a second, but they objectively put it there so that way they'd fit the category of an Oscar. I know we talked about this like about a month or two ago.
Right.
There are certain things that do get in the movie that if you're not paying attention, you won't see. Like there was a poster on the one wall, you know, just different little things.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Animation usually struggles, and you know, I mean, best animation. It's good. Listen, it's gonna have to go up against Super Mario Brothers in a lot of categories now.
Do I see it being Super Mario Brothers?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. No, this was tier, and I can't wait until we talk about the cameos.
This is art.
I gotta add the cameos. I'm gonna bring it up. Oh my god. Oh my god.
All right. Compose yourself, people. All right, we're doing things on a scale here.
Okay.
No, this is a multiverse. We skipped scale.
Yeah.
No.
Can we talk about no post-credit scene at the end of the movie?
Scale.
No post-credit scene. Made me mad.
Well, nah.
They broke tradition, like they said in the movie.
Now, I do want to say the whole idea about like going into the multiverse and it being controlled by Miguel O'Hara, this Spider Society and everything. I like the concept of it. Not that it was something that was originally being done, but it's being done because of the events of the first movie and how people are being knocked out of their own universes, not necessarily on purpose, but that this Spider Society is being utilized to clean that up. We see that with the, I guess you'd say the Renaissance Vulture.
Yeah.
Would probably be the best way. And, and the fact that this is all happening because of the events of the first film, and they're cleaning up Miles's dirty work. So they're just claiming like the best of the best, but they're trepidatious on getting Gwen because obviously she's young, which I find funny because aren't most Spider people young? Like, yeah, we know Miguel's like a grown ass man, and we know that Jessica Drew is, but outside of that, I imagine most Spider people have got to be like somewhere in the late teens, early 20s.
Yeah, but it also may depend on also when they got their powers and how experienced they are with it.
Right, but they have like Insomniac Spider-Man video game version Spider-Man, voiced by I think Yuri Lowenthal, if I'm remembering correctly.
Now
and you have Spectacular Spider-Man. He was definitely in high school at the time. So yeah, the whole thing with Gwen not being mature enough, which obviously it does get into trouble because she decides to go see Miles instead of scout out the Spot, who is an issue, who is a detrimental issue.
Now, we heard a villain. Do we know if it was confirmed if live action actors voiced their characters of the cartoon?
Well,
they probably did.
Because I heard Hello Peter from Doc Ock, and I could have swore that was sounded just identical to live action Doc Ock.
I mean, it's a possibility. When you're going through the Spider Society and you're actually going ahead and seeing all the villains that they've captured to send back to their homes, there's just so many, but they're also behind like that orange film. So it's really hard to differentiate who looks like who and what looks like what. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they had in the background a live action Doc Ock or Green Goblin or something. Well, no,
it wasn't. Yeah, it was like you saw the cartoon version of it. And he said, "Hello, Peter."
You have to assume that somewhere along the line they are going to be doing something like that because they would save it for the finale. But in this case, the multiverse aspect has already been explored in the latest Spider-Man Marvel movie. So the tie-in there is honestly far too easy. To the point that I think everybody's been expecting it for so long, so you make them wait on something like that.
Well,
don't
I mean,
don't even get me started on Doctor Strange and that boy on Earth 1999.
That little twerp.
Great
But
Easter egg.
you want to know what I think they could probably do, and they might be doing it, is they might actually not even animate them. Have live action for maybe just a split second or two. Live action Tobey Maguire in that world.
It's possible.
They already did that.
Yeah, they didn't yet. No.
Technically, they did show live action.
They showed clips from the movies.
No, I'm gonna bring this up. I'm gonna bring it up because.
All right.
Go ahead, Dave.
All right.
So since we're talking about the villains, Day, go ahead and talk about the cameo.
So, ladies and gentlemen, oh God, this was a great cameo, which it was mentioned on Spider-Man Homecoming. Am I right? Homecoming?
Yes, it was Homecoming.
Yeah, where we saw Miles Morales' uncle live action in Spider-Man Homecoming.
Mm-hmm.
He makes an appearance in this movie as a live action character of the
He was locked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was chill about it.
Yeah, he was chill. He was like, yo, don't.
But yeah, it was kind of cool seeing Donald Glover in full Prowler regalia.
Yes.
And who else crazy? Yeah.
Yes, we'll get to that. We'll get to that Prowler stuff too. But yeah, to go ahead and do that, like they could have easily had one of the, the other spiders, like we saw in like No Way Home. Mm-hmm. They could have easily had one of them walking through the Spider-Verse. Mm-hmm. Walking through the society and being like, hey, I'm just getting a coffee. They could have done something like that simple, but they didn't. Mm. And that's why I think I'm more prone to the idea, like, they might have something like that show up in the third movie, knowing, like, the kind of buzz that you got from that. And I wouldn't even be against seeing some of the other live-action villains. I would love an Alfred Molina Doc Ock, a reformed version, and maybe he becomes the superior Spider-Man and takes over Tobey Maguire's body or something. That would be so messed up. But I want to see it now.
I want to see it.
Because now the reins are open. There is so much potential.
Yeah.
To talk about that.
Well, see, not just potential here, but the potentiality and the logic of spin-offs. And this is something I've talked about at length with the MCU in general. Forget Spider-Verse for a second. But I've talked about the fact that they need to reset them, the storyline in different multiverses, to reset the origin. Because now every time you're going, like I said, it's like Dragon Ball, where you elevate the danger level to the next villain that you have to face.
Right.
So this villain down here doesn't have the same cloud as this one up here. You reset to a different universe, and then all of a sudden you can rebuild again from the ground up with it. You could almost expect that the multiverse will be setting up possibly a Gwen Stacy exclusive storyline or something like that, where you have the options to do spin-offs and this sort of thing. I think it's a matter of time, not even if. I think, I kind of hope in some ways that Sony doesn't pull a Disney and just milk this teat until it goes dry. But I think you can get something there. Go ahead, Day, before you chew your literal finger off.
No, I have a vision.
Oh, God.
And it's related to what Ryan said, a live action on the third one. Why do I have a feeling that that they're going to have the same characters voice the cartoons, and then when they go into the live action universe and they become human, they're going to have separate characters to replace them?
Well, no, see, that's the thing. That's not how the Spider-Verse works. Whatever universe you are from, that is what you are. That's why when we saw Spot end up at Mrs. Chen's for Venom, he was still animated. Otherwise, he would have turned into a live-action Spot character.
What about that?
I'm surprised we didn't see him or hear him.
I'm surprised. We didn't.
Or kind of like when they showed the Uncle Ben scenes; those were live action. So that's
because those. Well, I mean, you probably. They showed every Uncle Ben scene you could possibly show from the movies, animated, the games, and so many Uncle Bens dead at once, man. It's like, God, geez.
I was hoping
it's like someone just kicked over all the rice in the aisle at the supermarket.
Now it's just Ben. It's not even Uncle Ben. It's Ben.
I was hoping they would have, but I understand why they didn't. I was hoping we would have saw Aunt May as well, because she was technically Peter's Uncle Ben, I guess you would say, in the Spider-Verse. I mean, in the Marvel universe, because she did say the quote and then she passes, or it would have been nice to see something like that. And I did have a quick theory I was going to say is in the third part, I think we're going to see the deleted scene that was supposed to be in the first movie of Tom Holland, because they didn't show us Tom Holland in this movie. They showed us technically the other two spiders, which I know we're about to talk about. They didn't show us Tom. At least I didn't see Tom Holland at all. Not that I seen him.
And what I was about to also say is they were supposed to show Madam Web, because Madam Web didn't make an appearance in this film. But my thing is, better yet, put her in the third one, which makes sense.
Yes.
Yep.
Because technically, she is part of this Spider-Verse and the controller of this. Now, back to what I was saying. Now, if they did decide to make them live action for a brief second, who do y'all think will be playing Miles and Gwen?
What do you mean?
As a live action quick scene?
Who's the kid in the Bel Air reboot on Peacock?
Oh, you're saying who could do to be honest, I think the kid that plays Will Smith in the Bel Air could be a good option.
That's the one I'm talking about. Yeah, the one on Peacock.
Oh.
I would say if you have to have like a live action version of Spider-Gwen,
I
think the smart move might be Dove Cameron.
You talking about Banks on Jabari Banks?
This guy right here.
Yeah.
Jabari Banks.
And then I could see Peyton List being a possibility.
Okay.
I was thinking about the kid that played in Stranger Things.
Here's the thing: Peyton List has the persona and the that look, that's smarmy, like Gwen Stacy sort of look to her. But I'm not sure she might be aged out. She's 25 years old at this point.
True. So I mean, she couldn't be a young version because
she's got 21 million Instagram followers. Holy crap.
That's the thing. Dove Cameron can definitely like look more the younger teen part still.
Well, what about Millie Bobby Brown?
No,
she's aging out a little bit. She's like 21, 22 now herself.
She's already getting married, man. Come on.
Is she really? No.
Yeah, she's engaged. Good for her. But this just speaks Gwen Stacy. Like she has like that all-American blonde girl charm. All you have to do is like shave off the side and you're set.
Yeah.
But speaking of the other characters in the Spider-Verse, let's delve into who we actually have in the Spider-Verse. Okay. So obviously there's the two mains that we meet of the Spider Society being Jessica Drew, played by Issa Rae, and then Miguel O'Hara, voiced by Oscar Isaac, which Oscar Isaac is just in all the fandoms. My God.
Dude, really?
And I like that they kind of went with like the pregnant Jessica Drew version, having to ride the motorcycle because God forbid, something happened with the baby. I thought that was very clever. And you want to talk about inclusivity. You've got a black female Spider-Woman riding the motorcycle while pregnant.
Yeah.
That hits notes that weren't even on the list.
Right. Facts. Preach.
And the fact is, her being like more of a mentor, pretty much being the Peter B. Parker to Gwen, and kind of like, trying to show her the ropes, trying to tell her that there's a certain mentality you have to have when doing this job, especially given her connection to Miles, which we'll get into. Like, I know Jessica Drew has always kind of been more of like a stern character, maybe a little bit more on the serious side, even though the comics version, especially like the white Jessica Drew version, has been over-sexualized so much by the comic artists that they actually went ahead and probably went with a much more proper version, with the one being done by Issa Rae.
Hollywood as a whole is desexualizing women in a lot of ways. Just not even comics, just in general.
Right.
Dudes still kind of, I think, have some degree of jack to them, but yeah, in women, they're changing that persona and that stigma a lot now.
Yeah, but I think by doing that, you make Jessica Drew that much more of a serious character to understand and to listen to, where she's probably being like the more doting mother type rather than the international super spy with powers and a weird flexible body that allows her to like pop the booty in such a way that it becomes meme worthy.
Well, I think the fact that most people don't know who Jessica Drew is, I think gets away with it a little bit. But when you take, I'm going to use an example here. With April O'Neil now, that's the current April O'Neil. That is nothing compared to the one that any one of us grew up, even in the early 2000s version. So,
but I will add to this, because the person that created the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles,
Eastman and Laird.
Yeah, originally April O'Neil was supposed to be black. Because it was a reference to his girlfriend at the time, because she was black.
Oh, that's
just a little bit of information to let y'all know.
Interesting.
Yeah, but really interesting considering you didn't get a black April O'Neil.
Oh, they made them change.
Yeah, right, but you didn't get one finally until Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Right.
Every other version has been either been
original
a grown
April
adult or a child version.
Yeah. But yeah,
that's the left of that panel is the one. That's the
look
that
at
was
those
the original.
earrings. My God.
Yeah, well, that's product of the '80s there too.
Yeah, but that's the original April O'Neil.
I mean, I see it where it's like it's definitely more '80s oriented. Like that could be just like teased up hair, but yeah, no. When you look at it, it kind of does feel like maybe somebody else should have been April, but. When you're selling a cartoon, I don't know why you couldn't have. I don't think there's any kind of artistic difference there. Maybe they just thought redheads, would sell better. I don't know.
I almost want, just a working theory in this case. The red might have offset the green of the Ninja Turtles a little bit better, because remember the original comic was black and white.
Right.
So I almost wonder if because this case the Turtles were green, you had to have something that would really offset and show a degree. I mean, this is why she had the red hair and the yellow jumpsuit, because that really stands out versus green. Just I don't know enough.
And helps with toys.
I'm spitballing here. I never had an April O'Neil toy. I'm not even sure if they sold them, but
there was an April O'Neil toy. It came with like a little camcorder that you could hold up.
Of course it did.
You actually took the camcorder part off, and it was holding a pistol.
Did it include the random ransom note whenever Shredder would kidnap her?
No.
That girl got kidnapped more than Princess Peach.
No, but they gave April O'Neil a gun and the toys. Like she literally had like a pistol.
Now see, that's
come on.
Of all the April O'Neils, and listen, I don't know all the iterations, but the one from the early 2000s version, I thought had a little bit of badassery to her. Also, I also believe that, in my opinion, that was the best iteration of Ninja Turtles in general.
Yes.
I mean, same as it never was the greatest episode of any animation I've ever seen. That blew my mind.
You talking about TMNT, right?
Yes, the one basically the one from the early 2000s, the one from that centered around the multiverse where Donatello disappeared and Shredder won. Killed Casey Jones, killed
the Fox version of TMNT.
Yeah, it was that was a dark what the hell episode. And I was really shocked because that is not like a dream sequence. That is a real multiverse where they all died.
Yes.
And in this case, Donatello, Michelangelo had his arm cut off. I think it was Raphael lost an eye, and it was just like really, really dark stuff. And I was,
sorry to cut the turtle stuff short, but
okay,
back to the spiders.
Okay.
Now, Jessica Drew aside, let's talk Miguel O'Hara.
Okay.
Spider-Man 2099. First of all, I didn't even realize he was a vampire.
Yeah, you didn't?
No, I just thought he was like a future guy. Like,
no, he was a vamp. Yeah, what happened was sometime, I guess whatever the spider did turned him into a vampire as well.
There was a vampire iteration in a few multiverses.
Which I found the joke when Gwen's describing everything to Miles, and Miles says, vampire good guy? I don't know about that. That was such a Morbius dig. That was absolutely a Morbius dig.
Yeah. And it was good. And I like
Jared Leto never has any luck with those things.
And I keep showing this off because this is the first appearance of Spider-Man 2099.
Nice. I think I had
Oh,
that
it
back in the
was.
day too.
What do you mean
Oh.
was?
It's time.
No, it still is. First appearance of Spider-Man 2099.
Now
he's like, "What do you mean was?"
Now, well, describe to me Spider-Man Miguel O'Hara's 2099. Like, is he as Aggie as they show him in this movie?
He's a more serious Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think he really is more. I've never read the comics. I like the covers, but I think he is. I'm sorry, I will flat out.
It's like I have all these comics in my background. Oh, I don't read them. I just look like them for the covers.
No, but
they just look pretty.
But exactly, and then it sells them off.
Yeah, but Spider-Man,
I sell them.
Spider-Man 2099 is more of a serious a-hole.
I don't. I mean, I read a couple issues of it, but I don't really remember too much. I remember X-Men 2099 a lot better.
Yeah,
I remember like the 2099 series, Doom 2099, X-Men 2099.
Yeah, there was
Spider-Man. I think is probably the most prominent from that series. But I mean, I just liked that it was like an O'Hara. I liked that we had an Irish Spider-Man, but you know, seeing what apparently he has gone through with his whole thing, like finding a multiverse with his family and that ultimately destroying that universe. Like, it's pretty much common when he was going through like all the canon stuff and saying there are certain things that happen to Spider-Man that need to happen in order for them to be a Spider-Man. You do have to empathize with him to a certain point. You know, I can't imagine like if I had the opportunity to like actually live through. It's kind of like what Wanda did in a Multiverse of Madness. Right. She was trying to find a world where she could find her kid. Instead, she found one. She was going to kill off that Wanda and take over. And
crazy
family will do that. Family will do that. And I think we see that in a certain sense throughout the entire movie, because we see how Gwen is with her dad, we see how Miles is with his parents, and now we see Peter B. Parker being like the only one that's got a stable family at the moment, even though Mayday just be flying all over the place. And we see Miguel with a family and just trying to get it back, knowing that for as long as he lives, he has to live in isolation. He has to pretty much live with what he did and knowing that he'll never have anything else outside of that.
Right.
And it kind of sucks because you want to hate him because of what he does with Miles and that Miles that messes up things. But you kind of have to agree with him. And that's always what makes the best kind of villains. The best villains are the ones that you can actually say, you know what? He makes a good point.
Humanizes them a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know if we mentioned, but can we talk about how there was the first appearance of Spider-Man comic book just floating when the dimension opens? They just show
how he's like reading that stuff. Well, again, don't forget, in Miles' universe, his Spider-Man just was marketed all over the place. Had a Christmas album and everything. So I wouldn't be surprised that they would start making comic books on the character in order to sell.
It just cracks me up that we saw the first appearance of Spider-Man. I was like, yo.
Now, refresh my memory. We haven't seen Stan Lee show up, though, right?
No.
We did see him in the first movie. He's the one that sells Miles the
that's right. The
cheapo costume.
Because he was still alive at that point.
Right.
One would expect him to probably come back, possibly with archived voice work in the next movie.
No.
Because remember, in the Spider-Man multiverse, at least in the 90s animated series, Stan Lee was an actual person. And he wrote Spider-Man in that universe, which turned out
I was gonna say that's the one. To be honest, if we're talking about anything that was really missing this movie, it was Stan Lee. But obviously, with Stan Lee not being
that's why I'm thinking he's going to end up in the next one with just like archived audio footage.
It would have been nice if we saw every other Spider, and I was like,
but like I said, they knew they were doing another one, so they can wait that out.
Yeah, let's get into some of the other spiders that we had here.
Only if Stan Lee was still alive to see that actually play out.
Oh, yeah, to see so many of his creations being able to be on one spot and work together and just the animation of it all, seeing all that come to life. It probably would have only like been in his wildest dreams.
Yeah.
But as far as the other Spider-Man that we got, Spider-Man India. I thought that was pretty clever.
Yeah.
I like how they had like a lot more traditional ideas. How like India pretty much took over New York.
Yeah.
Mumbatan, I think that's what they called it.
Yeah.
And mind you, he's voiced by Dopinder from Deadpool. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that that's what they're doing. It's like
he was like, "No, you drink chai tea?"
What did you just say? Chai tea? Chai means tea. You're saying TT. Which throws back to what Miles was saying when he was talking to the Spot at the convenience store. It's like, why do they say ATM machine? The M means machine. It's like it's the same humor. It's the same ideals. And mind you, Spider-Man India is pretty much very pivotal because that's the canon event that gets destroyed by Miles. Either the police captain of his girlfriend had to die, or the girlfriend had to die by being dropped off the bridge. Classic tropes either way, but because of Miles, they didn't happen. But also because of that, the universe is crumbling.
Yeah.
So it's like, you can't win. Spider-Man can't win. That is always a thing in Spider-Man movies and Spider-Man stories. He has the worst possible luck. And anytime something goes right for a Spider-Man, there's always something bad that happens after. Which is kind of like why I like the idea of like Hobie Brown as Spider-Punk, which I think is definitely the most standout of the Spider. I think everyone's going to love him.
Yes.
And it's funny because you don't see Hobie in the trailers. When you see the scenes that he's in, and then you look at the trailers, they crop him out. They don't show Hobie. And I think that's for good reason, because I think Hobie is going to be very pivotal in the third movie.
Right.
Also, the problem is if you put him in there looking like that and everything like it, it draws too much attention away from all the other characters.
Correct.
Yeah, with his look always just like changing and morphing and everything. It's like
you don't want to pull away. You don't want to pull away from what you've already established.
Exactly.
That's a desperation move, but they did not need to do a desperation move.
Right.
Now, one thing I noticed, and maybe I need to go watch the first one, because it's been a while. But did they do as much color? Did the first one do as much color as the second one did? Because I felt like this one was more trippy with the color.
More universes, the more options, I think.
Yeah, more
universes. I don't think it was as colorful, because certainly especially when you look at the spider people that crossed over into Miles's universe.
There's like times when like the cat, like the dad of Miles was like pink and stuff. And, and to me that was really trippy watching this movie. It would have been nice if if they would have done this in 3D. This could have been a really good 3D movie, but that's just sorry. I had to mention that because if you have epilepsy, I will say, if you have epilepsy, do not go watch this movie.
That's
right. Yeah, no, and it's overly energetic with its movements. So much so you actually lose a little bit of like the audio because of everything that's going on.
Okay, were you guys having that issue too? Because I thought that was my theater.
Yeah, it was something that's actually been brought up.
It was very quiet, where you basically had to not talk at all, and you could at least my theater, I could barely. There was times that it was hard to hear. I had to So yeah.
Oh yes, Mama Morales. Oh.
So that's good to know that you guys also had that. So that's been an issue for all theaters. That's good.
But we'll get to the parents in a sec, because we definitely start hitting the high notes of the spoilers. But as far as other Spider people concerned, just a couple of standouts. Andy Samberg as Ben Reilly. So into his own ish with the monologuing. Oh my God, that is so comical.
Don't know what to do. I lost my family.
I need to message Stephen Butler and see if he's seen the movie yet and his thoughts on, because Stephen Butler is the creator of Ben O'Reilly. So to finally see his character,
he's the one that started the whole clone saga.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bastard.
So I'm gonna message it. He also did the Silver Sable run. He did a lot of the covers and stuff. He did the artwork and stuff. But anyways, I'm gonna message him and see if he's seen it yet and his thoughts.
But yeah, Scarlet Spider. I mean, looks great. Looks like. You want to talk about how the other characters look like they were pulled from a comic book.
Yeah.
This is literally pulled from the comic book.
Comic book.
The shading, the scarring, everything. The super muscles. It's like, oh, so 90s. Oh, I loved how they pulled off Scarlet Spider. But yeah, you had Web Slinger, who I think was also voiced by Lord or Miller? I think it was one of them. Having a cowboy with the horse that has the mask, a spider T-Rex, a spider cat, spider dong. You had the one where it was like, he had his own, 8 appendages, like almost a Iron Spider. Spectacular.
Spider-Man T-Rex was my favorite.
Spider-Man Unlimited was in there.
That's why I'm saying
Spider-Man versions, like I said. Cyborg Spider-Woman, heavily shown, which I thought that was a strange turn, but I guess just because she was so huge, yeah, you had to knock off what you were doing with her. Bagman, I loved seeing Bagman. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. Yes, the reference to the Spider-Man from the Fantastic Four reference, right?
Yeah, how was it we get Bagman in a movie before proper Fantastic Four?
Yeah.
Messes with my head.
I will say I loved when they showed the T-Rex Spider-Man, and what's cool is I have the inflatable costume of that because GameStop had it, and they went from it being $100, it got clearanced all the way down to like $10. So then I bought it for $10. This was back in Halloween. I'm very tempted to wear it one of the days this weekend at the convention just because of the movie and everything.
Wow, they had a huge lineup of people that were voicing different characters.
Really?
Yeah. And the thing is, a lot of the characters, they didn't necessarily need voices. You could just look at them and you were like, okay, I know who that is.
Kind of like they showed Nicolas Cage's character, but you don't.
Well, yeah, when you learn at the end that Gwen pretty much works up her own team to help find Miles and everything, and it's pretty much a mix of all the Spider people that we got from the first movie. So you're getting Penny, you're getting Spider-Man Noir, you're getting Peter Porker back. The faves that people were like, why weren't they in this movie? Well, they're going to be in the third movie. Don't worry about it. As Peter Parker India and Hobie. And the one that I was probably most surprised by, which I wasn't even aware whether or not it was a character, Spider-Bite. I thought that was pretty interesting that you actually had a character who was basically using a Spider-Man avatar to cross dimensions while she just chilled at home. That I never heard of. Like, is that anything in the comics?
She's a new character, technically.
Well, Rob, I'm asking, is there any...
I don't know. I'm sorry, I do not know the answer to that question.
Because that opens up a wide range of possibilities as far as, like, having characters that have, like, avatars while they're being safe.
I don't see why it wouldn't be in the comics, to be honest. I mean, they have the technology in different universes where you can do that.
I thought that was like the most clever thing. I don't know why, but that just struck me. Right. And her being so sympathetic to like letting Miles go when she could have stopped it, but no, let him do his thing.
So the people that voiced like Charlotte Webb was Danielle Perez.
All right, yeah.
Spectacular Spider-Man was Josh
Keaton. The original actor from the television show.
Yeah. Metro Spider-Man was voiced by Metro.
Yeah, Metro Boomin. Yeah, he had his own spider character made up. Just so he could do like those 2 lines. It's like, there's no way out. Oh, I guess there was a way out. Jumping through a window.
Insomnia Spider-Man was based off the video game, the actual voice actor from the video game.
Yes.
Web Slinger was...
Wait, which... Are we talking about Yuri then? Yuri Ethanol?
Yeah. Correct.
Awesome.
Yeah, we have an interview with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, that's been getting extra views lately. Anyway, so go ahead, Day.
Web Slinger was voiced by Tamron Killen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Taron Killam. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's what it was. A former SNL alum. That's all.
Wait, this one is unique. The Lego Spider-Man was voiced by Nick Nick Volke. Let me make sure.
Oh yeah. Okay. Just one thing about the Legoverse. How were they able to do that without Warner Brothers just like holding a fit? Because Warner Brothers has been like all things Lego, and they've even incorporated Marvel characters into it. But now Spider-Verse is basically saying there's just a whole Lego universe, which means anybody could come in.
There's already been like, Lego Star Wars and things like that anyway. So it's not like they're isolated to one side or the other.
Okay, fair. But I did like the idea that it opened up where it was so innocuous. It was just the Daily Bugle. There was nothing like overly Marvel about it.
Yep.
So I'm really hoping that, does this mean we can go back to the Legoverse and we can see like some, more web slinging and more characters pop up? I'd love to see a Lego Venom personally, but that's just me. Which I almost have to say, as far as the villain's concerned. Okay, let's start getting down to like the brass tacks here. So a couple of things we learned in this movie that's going to go ahead and dictate what happens for the third movie, which is being called Beyond the Spider-Verse.
March 2,
big thing number one. Miles is the original problem.
Yes.
He got a spider from a different universe, as we learned from the Spot, because he's the one that dragged it out from the Collider. And he should not have been Spider-Man. Miles was never supposed to be a Spider-Man. And now there is a universe that he eventually ends up going to because of the genetic difference in his body. And he goes to a world where there never was a Spider-Man. But he ends up becoming the Prowler, not his uncle. He ends up becoming it.
Yeah.
And his dad dies, which has always been like the big thing going throughout this film. Like the main canon event for Miles, it wouldn't have been the whole uncle dying thing. It would have been whether or not Captain Morales, Jeff, dies.
Right.
And as far as we know, he hasn't died in Miles' universe, but in this alternate universe where there was no Spider-Man, he does die. And not even so much that there isn't a Spider-Man, he becomes the Prowler. There is a Sinister Six syndicate, so I wonder what villains we're going to see in that version on that universe. And that's eventually where Gwen's Spider Team is going to have to find him, because this Miles Prowler, this what was the initial that they gave him? I think in the credits it's Miles G. Morales.
Oh, Miles. Yeah, this is that.
Yeah, person, like Peter B. Parker. I think he's gonna be Miles G. Morales.
Yeah, because that person was voiced by
that was different. That was a different person than Shameik Moore.
Right.
I thought they changed his last name. Did they not change his last name when they said it out loud?
No, he said Miles Morales, but he said it differently than Shameik did. He almost said it with almost like an accent, like more of a Hispanic accent, which kind of makes sense if you're being raised primarily by Rio and you don't have like your dad always there, so you're always getting more of like a Hispanic inflection talking with somebody. So it might have rubbed off on him, which I think is
and that version probably had an A in class.
Yeah. Provided he goes to school. I don't know if this one goes to school anymore. But yeah, no, I really like that. Even then, the Prowler is still like integrated into the family, even if it's not Uncle Aaron doing it. Somehow, it's still there. And
I love
we don't know if Prowler is like a bad guy or a good guy, but traditionally, not always a good guy.
I love the realization.
Oh snap!
What?
No, the person that voiced the other Miles Morales. Okay. You remember a movie?
Yeah, you're on a freaking rabbit hole right now, man.
I know. You remember the movie When They See Us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one that was a little bulky, the one that was locked up because he had a girlfriend at the time, and he was basically
it's him.
He's the one that voices the other Miles Morales.
Okay. Not bad.
I love when they did the whole realization when you realized, oh crap, he's not in the same universe as Gwen.
Yeah, I think that's the point where I almost felt like, okay, this is where the movie's going to end, where he realizes, I'm not home. I'm in Universe 42, just like the Spider. But no, then it kept on going for a little bit. I'm like, okay, so how exactly are we ending this? So,
And
I will give you that, Rob. That's where it felt like the slowest, where it felt like I thought we had come to a conclusional cliffhanger.
Yeah.
But then
to
all
me,
of a
I was
sudden-
okay. I was okay with that. I was talking about way before that. It got.
Okay.
It was. And when I rewatch it, I'll be able to tell. It was right before. To be honest, all the action of all the spider. I think it was.
Are you talking about the beginning part, like towards when they're at the cookout?
No, they were at the building or something. I'll be honest. The reason why I know it was slow is because I dozed off a little bit. So I can't remember.
Rob!
I doze off at slow parts in theaters. That's just my
Boo! Boo on you, sir! Boo!
I
Yes,
can't.
you can boo.
No, I'm not gonna boo on you because I saw the movie in another language. I went to the theater to see it in American, and I kind of don't know if it was my fault because I was drinking that day. I will not say what movie it was because Scott will blow a gasket.
It was definitely a movie that had people in it.
It was animated.
Akira.
No.
Okay.
Well, you didn't say what kind of animation. You just said animated.
It was Japanese anime.
Oh, it was anime.
But I saw it before the movie came out, but it was in another language, and I went to the theaters to see it again, and I fell asleep because I was drinking.
Let me talk about this. I want to bring this up at this point.
Yes, go ahead, Scott.
Please and thanks. So this is the box office numbers right now.
Right.
For pretty much everything. I think you can see enough of it in this particular case.
Are we still in number 8?
So let me close that out too while we're at it. So right now, this is as of this morning. So this is not up to date beyond anything beyond Sunday morning in this particular case.
And this is simply with Sunday projections, which it may actually go beyond.
Not even projections, just up to this point.
Right.
So, this already had like the highest box office of any film first day in 2023. It did $20 million more than Super Mario Brothers did, and $5 million higher than I think it was Guardians 3. So right now it's coming in as of this morning at number 8. It's gonna surpass Creed. Probably already has surpassed Creed at this point.
And it's definitely gonna surpass Little Mermaid.
Well, that's kind of where I'm going with this because Little Mermaid right now is probably going to top out this weekend at maybe like 375. Spider-Man is probably going to be well over 300 by the end of this weekend. So Little Mermaid, which in this case, and if you remember, Ryan, you and I did Cash or Trash. Little Mermaid came in at $250 million and probably is going to hit, I'm guessing 375 at best for the end of this weekend. Across the Multiverse was $100 million budget. It has already doubled that in 2 days.
Yep.
Yeah.
So from that perspective here, I mean, every comment that came in on this was just like, it's cash. Nobody said it was going to be trash. And
right.
Adrian said that. But what's funny about it is the fact that, and it's still early to see where things are going to go with all this.
Right.
But, right now, it's probably going to settle between Super Mario Brothers and Guardians, which means that the two highest grossing films this year may both be animated features.
Well,
and left field animated features.
I was going to say, I don't know because we've got 2 more weekends coming up you've got next weekend is Transformers. And then the next week after that, you've got Flashpoint.
But I don't think either one of them is going to do what Spider-Verse did because Spider-Verse got to it first.
Yeah.
You don't think that's the Michael Keaton coming back is going to surpass?
I don't think it's going to beat Across the Multiverse now.
Okay.
Look,
I don't know. I don't know, and I'm going to say it like this because I did see the Flash. The Flash was phenomenal, but then I saw Spider-Verse. Mm-hmm. I can see myself paying money to go see Spider-Verse. The Flash, I kind of maybe a Tuesday, or maybe if I'm bored.
Michael Keaton member berries aren't enough to save it. Or I mean, listen, not just let me rephrase it. It's not enough to basically cause it to explode.
Okay.
So
we'll see. You have some people that have seen both movies, and
Spooderman.
Even though they can't say anything, they are basically saying that Across the Spider-Verse and the Flash are essentially the same movie.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to do some damage when people finally go see Flash, having seen Across the Spider-Verse, and
That's
they're
a really good point there too, because they're already multiversed out.
it's the same thing.
Right.
So it might hurt it.
I wouldn't say I'm multiverse out because I got the Marvel multiverse. I'm excited for any DC crossovers. So I wouldn't say I'm multiverse out because I'm a multiverse.
But also in this case here, I think
But
Ryan, you and I talked about this a couple weeks ago. To a small degree, the Ezra Miller controversy is going to hurt it a little bit. Not massively, but it's going to hurt it a little bit, which also doesn't fuel the argument that's going to surpass multiverse. I don't think it will.
Right.
I think it's going to. Right now, I've been refreshing this page and bouncing from across a few different websites. The numbers was one of them. They're all pretty much saying the exact same thing. These numbers haven't changed any. So I'm really kind of watching this like every morning to see where it stands, because I'm really curious to see if it, when and if it surpasses Little Mermaid. Because for all the falderall about Little Mermaid and how it was toxic racist fans and misogynistic douchebags basically boycotting the film, if Spider-Man overtakes it, you got a minority kid and a white girl. That argument goes right out the window.
Well, not only that, you've got Miguel O'Hara, which is obviously a minority, Jessica Drew, which is minority,
but I'm talking
Hobie Brown, which is minority.
Number 1 and 2 on the call sheet.
Yeah,
there's no way.
Pandakar, I know I screwed up his name, but
there's no way it's not gonna. Probably by tomorrow morning when we wake up, it probably are surpassed. I guarantee it. I've had a bunch of friends see it today. I mean, today's a day off. It's summertime. It was Sunday. I'm pretty sure it passed Little Mermaid.
And Little Mermaid also, keep in mind that had a 4-day start on it, so it was really a 9-day start. Because it had
a holiday weekend to work with. This is just a standard weekend.
Yes. And in this case, that was a Memorial Day weekend. They had to try and make, so it's still, if you, like I said, you have to double the budget typically to break even. That movie may not still break even. Spider-Verse already has as of Sunday morning.
What was the budget for Little Mermaid?
$250.
Wow, that's too much.
Yes,
exactly.
And that's the point. Because on this case here, so much went into the animation, the CGI, the reshoots that apparently happened in there. I've heard a few other aspects and a few other problems that existed in that as well. So there was so much that happened in that particular case that caused the headaches and the struggles that the movie is having. And to a degree, it's live action burnout. People
now, in the reverse of that, Spider-Man has really nothing working against it. It's coming off of an Academy Award-winning movie. It's got lovable fanfare. It has basically improved upon its formula. It's still keeping the narrative, which means it's not a cash grab. And everyone, critics and audience,
your ear looks fantastic.
This film. This is not a divisive movie.
Your ear is fantastic. But also, like I said, in this case here, with Little Mermaid, with Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and all of these remakes, you saw the original. There's not much more to add to it. Here with Spider-Verse, you did not know where part 2 was going. You did not know where part 3 was going. It is a fresh script. It is a fresh storyline. So there is curiosity and intrigue about what's happening. Little Mermaid, it's like, okay, I saw the movie. I saw the original from '89. Okay, obviously
could have done without Scuttlebutt.
Halle Bailey, to her credit, sings phenomenally. Apparently mediocre actor kind of thing, but sings phenomenally and looks a decent part for it. But that doesn't mean it's enough to basically say, I'm dropping $20 a ticket to go see this.
Exactly.
When there's something else out there. When $20 equals basically your entire Netflix for a month or Hulu for a month. I told you, I went out to dinner, me, my wife, and my mother-in-law. That was $220. That my money going out instead. So,
and this is why I have AMC A-list. Again, not sponsored, but you could be.
So,
or you have a awesome theater like I, and I get to see movies at $8 each movie.
Yeah, but you also have a place called Bobby Sue's over there too. So,
what?
You also have a place over there on the east side of town called Bobby Sue's. That's a freaking awesome Midwest name.
I do.
Yeah, you do.
I don't think there's a Bobby Sue where I live.
No, there's
a Bobby Sue.
There's a Bobby
Sue.
You know what? It's fine. Hey, at least we have Pip over here.
I'm gonna pull this up and prove it, and then
we have.
If I'm wrong,
I get to drink Pip whenever I want.
Maybe there isn't a Bobby Sue in your universe, Rob, but in the ones that Scott has seen, there is a Bobby Sue somewhere in that area.
Exactly.
Multiverse.
Exactly. But like I said, the bottom point is, we've already seen Little Mermaid. You know, we saw it with white people. Great. You know, we saw Aladdin. We saw Aladdin with white people. Great. You know, we've already seen these things. We saw Beauty and the Beast without Hermione Granger. Okay, fine. You know, but now there was Dumbo, there was Lady and the Tramp. God knows, I'm not even thinking about people at this point are Peter Pan and Wendy. You know, at this point,
and we're getting Stitch, and we're getting Moana, which makes no sense.
No, it's like nobody cares anymore. It's like, give us an original script, and that's where I think the writer's strike is going to help at least one iota, because a lot of these folks are working internally, if not publicly, on new scripts and ideas and thoughts. They may not be able to legally be able to put anything down, but that doesn't mean their minds aren't working.
Yeah.
Now, as far as the box office as it's going to be for the coming month,
mm-hmm.
If Spider-Man doesn't hold number one for at least 2 weeks, I'm going to be upset. Because in my mind, word of mouth should be enough to keep this movie going for the majority of June. I would say maybe by the time Indiana Jones comes out, you might have a way enough where maybe Indiana Jones takes over. I don't see the Flash taking over number one spot, and I sure as hell, I guarantee as hell, there is no way Transformers: Rise of the Beast is beating Spider-Man next week.
Wait.
Not happening.
Say that again.
No, I think they're going to be neck to neck. But
No.
I'm going to say neck to neck.
No.
Don't say no.
No. Hell no.
And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, your boy is going to the premiere of Transformers: Rise of the Beast.
Rise of the Beast.
And I will be doing,
keep an eye right here.
my kind of
60-second
spoiler review.
60-second spoiler-free review, which, by the way, you pissed off a lot of people with that last one.
I did?
The Flash review? Oh, my God. The amount of comments were like, why the fuck are you not giving us, spoilers on this? I promise not. Just tell me privately. I promise not to tell anyone. No. And every single time, there was like an NDA involved. The lawyers are going to get up our asses. They make more money in a month than we do in a year.
Right.
It's like, we're just like, well, dude, you guys suck. I'm down for it. And we got, initially, I'm not joking on this. There was originally 19. Now at this point, it's like a 96% upvote. Yeah. Which 96.7, I think was last I saw. The originally, out of the first 19 thumbs up or thumbs down, 9 of them were down votes.
Because I ain't telling this.
You were like 51-49, just like this. And eventually, because YouTube, the way it works is, I'll get to in a sec, Rob. Because YouTube, the way it works, it doesn't show the dislike unless you have the extension like I've got. All you see is the likes, and just as a result, the numbers kind of went like this, like they were supposed to. So now it's like 96.7% was the last number that I saw, which is kind of like channel average for the most part.
Right.
But initially, I was blown away. Ryan, you got some heat too for whatever Guardians, I think it was.
What? I didn't spoil anything. I did say a lot of people died. A lot of people did die. It wasn't any of the key people. It was simply a planet of
By the way, you have to plan an episode.
Look, nothing I said was a lie. But
I can pretty much guarantee, especially with Beast Wars coming up, that there will, or Rise of the Beast, that there will be comments in there being like, what does this person die? What happened? There was one comment in there. It just went on for back and forth for a while. Just tell me privately. You can text me. I won't tell anyone. I promise. Like, no, please, no, please, no. And it's like, oh my God.
How is Fast X still doing? Because that was a good movie. I really enjoyed it.
It was okay. I mean,
considering it got beat the next weekend by Little Mermaid, what does that tell you?
Yeah, Fast X 603.
What do you mean it technically didn't get beat? It's number 3, right?
Yeah, but it had a head start.
Yes, but the only reason it's doing so well is because of the overseas.
Yeah, 78% is a foreign market.
Right. Well, that's a good thing.
Oh yeah. Well, because like Ryan, you talked about this a couple of weeks ago, because they shoot in exotic locations, and these places are like, cool, here we are.
Yeah. Which is probably the only reason Transformers is going to get any money, because I don't really feel like there's enough fanfare American-wise, but considering...
Whoa, no.
Wow.
Look, I can tell you right now, there is going to be more fanfare still. There was no day. Don't even start with me.
I'm going to shut you down. You dead wrong for
Yeah,
that.
exactly. It's only because of the Beast Wars characters. No one's seeing it for RC. No one's seeing it for Bumblebee. Sure as hell, I ain't going to see it for Pete Davidson Mirage. But how much of those beasts are we actually going to see? Is it going to be another, bait and switch like we got with the Dinobots, where we got them for like maybe 15 minutes at the end of Age of Extinction?
Dude,
I'm there to go because it's a Transformer movie, and I love my boy Optimus Prime and Bumblebee.
And not only that, it's not what's his name directing, so you don't expect a lot of
Michael Bay.
Yeah,
I don't care if he's directing; he's still got his hands in the pot.
Shia LaBeouf. Oh, you mean that guy was supposed to take over as Indiana Jones?
Oh wow!
Oh, let's not get into Indiana Jones now. All right, I'm
whatever happened to that one, man.
Dude, you mean Indiana Jones 1 million?
Dude, it'll be okay. It might break even, but Indiana Jones 5, I think, is going to get destroyed, and it's going to be a sad end.
That's one movie that I am not going to go see this summer for sure.
That is something. Basically, here's the thing, Ryan, you are fired up about that movie, and I do not want to take that away from you, and neither will either one of the other two guys.
Yeah.
So I would be happy to eat crow on this and admit I was wrong. You know, if I am in fact wrong, I will own that one hardcore, and you can rub that shit in my face until basically, you know, it goes right up my nose. It's fine.
Wow.
You know, I get it like all in my teeth and everything like that, and no amount of mouthwash is going to get rid of it.
But for the purposes of this episode, without necessarily damaging the credibility of any of the movie that's coming out this month, the important thing is, with everything that we've discussed and with everything that we could possibly hope for, Across the Spider-Verse should have some staying power.
Yeah.
Which is going to make the rest of the month very difficult for a lot of high-budget, big-name, tentpole films coming out. And as a matter of fact, I don't know if any of the movies that are coming out are going to be able to meet the striking above projections gross that Spider-Man has. We probably won't see that until Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning in July.
Maybe not.
So,
but people don't go to the movies like they used to. So it's really that simple.
And you have to pick and choose. And this is something that a lot of people have waited up for, this movie. And just going in to finalize this episode, guys, what are your predictions for Beyond the Spider-Verse? We know how it ends with Miles being captured. We know he's the problem that causes everything. That's the reason why Gwen couldn't be around him, why Peter couldn't go see him, because he is basically patient zero as far as anomalies go in the Spider-Verse.
Big time.
Where do we see this going in the third movie?
I'm gonna say this. I do think this time we're gonna have a lot of cameos. The story is gonna basically have a final conclusion to this.
Do we think that Spider-Man 2099 is going to basically stay a villain? Do we think
he's not a villain. He's just
an antagonist.
An antagonist that basically you like the main character and is having a disagreement, and that's all it is. But he's not the main villain.
I mean, I hate to go back with the Guardians stuff with this, but I kind of feel like the main driving line and difference of mentality that we're getting between like a Miguel O'Hara and the Miles Morales is that some people sometimes have to die and you can't save everybody, whereas Miles is like, why can't we do both? Why can't we save? He's already proved it in Spider-Man India. So why can't everyone be saved? So who's going to die at the end of Beyond the Spider-Verse? Because someone's got to.
I know this wasn't going to happen, but I kind of wanted, when he screwed up like the timeline by like saving it, I wanted the Time Authority to just show up for a second.
Oh, the TVA?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Are we going to basically do this Deadpool again?
I mean, look, I think there's a very good possibility, given how some of the characters are, that they could be lost. Just like we saw now.
All right, so I'm gonna place my bet now.
I'm just saying. Just pick one person.
I'm gonna make it known.
All right.
I'm going to do a splitter for number one.
Okay, fine.
Everything is gonna be.
Oh, not Ringo.
No, it's not. It's not. It got to go by the comic books. So, if they don't go by the comic books, I think everybody is going to live.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fine.
If they go by the comic book, his father got to die.
You think Jeff is going to die?
He has to.
Why? I thought he lost his uncle. Why would he also lose his dad?
It's a fixed point in the timeline. Enough Doctor Who will teach you that one.
Don't even get me started.
Yeah.
I can understand that, but I almost feel like the whole reason Jefferson isn't going to die is because we're already seeing a universe where he did die.
Yeah, but that's
what I was gonna.
It's just to prepare Miles for the reckoning.
But isn't that the whole thing about breaking canon? Like, that's what Miles is showing, that not everyone has to have a set timeline. So I don't think his dad's going to die because of... I felt like that's the whole plot of the movie, is to be like... And, you know, how it says breaking canon, I felt like they did that, and people may disagree, but by not having the end credit scene at end of a... And some people are like, well, it's a Sony movie. Well, I've got to disagree with that, because Venom, Morbius, every single movie that we've had has done it.
Oh, God. God help us if any of the live-action Spider villains make it into the third movie.
Yes!
We've already gotten Donald Glover as the Prowler. God help me if Michael Keaton Vulture or Jared Leto Morbius.
I think the third one... When's the third one come out? It comes out next year, right?
March next year.
I think it's going to set up Secret Wars.
Facts.
That is a possibility.
Facts.
That is a possibility.
Now with everything going on with Marvel, it makes sense.
Because the next year after is when we get Secret Wars in 25. So it would make sense if they ended in the end some kind of either post-credit scene or something to reference the Secret Wars, because isn't that what we were just talking about earlier, that like all these events...
Sony's a little separated from Marvel that way, though.
Right, but as far as Spider stuff is concerned, they are still connected. I mean, if you can get like Venom to show up because of the snap, then or because of Peter's thing that was going on with the multiverse over with Doctor Strange, there is the crossover potential. Right. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's something in Beyond the Spider-Verse that may lead to Secret Wars, even if it's just an end credit scene. I'm going to say, for as much as Miles is going to try to do things right, I think you have to kill the Spot. I mean, as dorky as he is as a villain, there's just too much potential for him to be dangerous.
All of this started with him.
Yeah.
So it has to end with him.
Right. I mean, you could say, it started with Miles and everything, and Miles was the first, big issue and everything. But you know what? If he didn't pull that spider from the other universe, none of this would have happened.
No, he didn't pull the spider from the other universe. That was Kingpin.
He was working for Kingpin.
Who was working? No,
the Spot.
Yeah, the Spot did. Okay, just want to make sure.
Back when he was a human, he worked on the Collider. He's the one that brought the spider over from Universe 42. So it's his fault.
Right.
He made Spider-Man. He gave him everything. Like he says, I gave you everything and I lost everything. I mean, that's typical Nemesis mentality. Right. And I don't know if there's any saving him. You could probably save Miguel. Sure. And depending on how things work out in Universe 42 with him being the Prowler and everything, that might be able to be saved too. I don't think there's any saving of the Spot.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, Rob, you got your shot, and we'll call it from here.
I call the same. I don't know. I mean, it does make sense if we get rid of Spot, or maybe Spot will become a good guy.
No, never.
Fine.
He's like, you don't get any redemption.
No, if it was true Marvel, then yes.
Yeah, it's true.
If it was true Spider-Man, sure.
We'll say I'm excited for next week. Because next week will be after Dallas.
Yeah, we'll talk about that when it's doing due time. All right, gentlemen.
Scott, any thoughts on your end?
Right now, so it's my old age. I'm turning. When you reach my age,
which hopefully one day I will.
Any other final thoughts?
No.
Final thoughts
again.
The only thing we got to say is go see the movie Spider-Man. Crossing the Spider-Verse. Go see it.
And there's no end credit scene. Don't even say for mid credit scene, because all the mid says is that Miles Morales will return. That's all. There is no scenes.
But you can stay to see all the people that were involved who basically never get any love.
Well, true.
And the music is good too. Let us not say.
Yeah,
look,
the music is
anything...
phenomenal. It's just like the first one, but way better.
I'm just saying, I have trust issues with the movie now. I have to now each movie I'm gonna have to look up is there an actual end.
You need your safe space after that.
Yeah. I was mad because I talked to my friends in the staying. We stayed all the way until the end because I was like, "This is a Marvel movie," and nothing.
You need a hug, man.
You guys have gotten. I'll tell you what. You guys have gotten so spoiled over the years. With
I have to say, it's like.
What do you mean spoiled?
With everything you just got in that movie, do you really need to go ahead and have a spoiler or an end credit scene that leads into the next movie?
It didn't even have to be a spoiler. It could have been some silly cameo or just something that they didn't have in the movie that they just threw because of the fact that everybody...
epilogue in the
you got that with Gwen showing up with all the original spiders from the first movie.
No, I wanted my Fast and Furious moment, when they show people that are still alive.
No.
We did see that. We saw the Spider-Man Noir and Peter Porker. They're all still there. We already knew Penny converted, but she converted back.
All right, folks.
Okay.
But this could go on for another hour.
All right,
fantastic
also,
movie.
Ladies and gentlemen, keep an eye out for my review for Transformers: Rise of the Beast, and there may be some additional footage that I may show y'all while I'm at the premiere.
All right. Listen, you don't have to keep it to 60 seconds. If you go long, I will figure it out.
Yeah,
that's my thing.
No, that additional probably going to be separate.
Okay, done. I'll figure it out. So.
Yes. While you still have time this weekend, go see the movie.
Yes.
Go see it.
Do it your own way.
Do it. So.
Go see it, or you'll get sent into the multiverse that doesn't have a Spider-Man.
Make you sit in the corner and think about what you've done, young man.
To make you turn to a cat spider and spit at you.
By the way, for being Spider-Man Cat, that was a fatty tabby, man. It's like I thought when you became Spider-Man, you got slim and trim and bulked up and everything.
Oh, I mean, you had Alligator Loki.
That is true.
Yeah, but you had Spider Cat in the video games, and he was a physically fit cat.
Oh yeah.
By the way, is Rob going into a horror film right now? Is that what's happening?
What? He's going into a different universe.
Okay, yeah, it looks like you're going to a horror film. It's like
he just transferred over.
Yeah.
And that note, we're not going to reference the other horror film that's coming out, which is so stereotypical degree.
Hey, listen, no, 20-year anniversary of The Room comes out this month, okay?
Okay. No, I'm talking about The Blackening.
Oh,
I'm going to love to see that.
You know what? No, you can't go see it.
What do you mean I can't go see it?
You can't. All right, we gotta leave.
No.
Yeah, let's end it on that note.
To see it. You're coming with me, Dane. We're seeing that movie together, and I'm gonna wear this cowboy hat so I can look whiter as hell. All right, we're going to see it.
And on that note, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
This is Tell from the Skill Set signing off.
Take care, guys. Be awesome.